Vilgefortz.
You're alive, Yennefer. It's your turn to save these people, this continent. Everything you have ever felt, everything you've buried is your legacy.
Before we move on to the next topic, if you have anything you'd like to dive deeper into from the previous segment, please leave a comment below. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. All right, let's move on to the next topic. The edge they needed to win. And when the battle was over, when the hunt retreated, when everyone was celebrating, Yennefer was alone in the tower, tending to Ciri's injuries, never once mentioning her role in the victory. That's the beauty of Yennefer's influence. It's not about grand gestures or speeches. It's about showing up, about doing the work, about putting the people she loves above her own ego. Even her conflicts with the Brotherhood of Sorcerers, often painted as power hunger, were part of her plan. When the Brotherhood wanted to use Ciri as a weapon to drain her powers for their own gain, Yennefer pretended to align with them. She attended their meetings, smiled their smiles, played their games, all while gathering information, planting seeds of doubt in their ranks, and secretly sabotaging their plans. When the Brotherhood finally tried to capture Ciri, Yennefer turned on them, using their own magic against them, exposing their treachery to the world. She didn't just save Ciri. She destroyed the Brotherhood's hold on the continent, freeing sorcerers from their tyrannical rule and paving the way for a better future. So let's reimagine the Witcher saga, this time through Yennefer's eyes. It's a story of a woman who overcame a childhood of abuse, who clawed her way to power not for herself, but for the people she loved. It's a story of a sorceress who used her wit and magic to outmaneuver empires, to reshape destiny, to protect the ones no one else would. It's a story of a mother, a lover, a fighter whose legacy isn't in statues or songs, but in the lives she saved, the heart she changed, the world she made better. You've watched the show, played the games, read the books, but now you see the truth. Yennefer of Vengerberg isn't just a supporting character. She's the invisible architect of the Witcher's epic, and her legacy, quiet, powerful, unacknowledged, will outlive empires, outshine destiny, and forever change the way we see the saga. The next time you follow Geralt's journey, keep an eye on Yennefer. You'll see her everywhere, in Ciri's courage, in Geralt's compassion, in the hope that refuses to die. She's the one pulling the strings, and she's the reason the story matters. Geralt of Rivia began his journey as a man of stone, a witcher, trained to be neutral, to take coin, kill monsters, and move on. Emotions were a liability, attachments, a death sentence, and neutrality, his sacred code, one he clung to like a shield against the cruelty of the world. Then Yennefer of Vengerberg walked into his life, and that shield began to crack. Their story is often framed as a romance, but to reduce it to that is to miss the point. Yennefer wasn't just Geralt's lover. She was his mirror, forcing him to confront the parts of himself he'd buried, to trade his lone wolf habits for something softer, something braver, something human. She didn't change him. She unlocked him, and in doing so, turned a stoic witcher into a man who could love, who could commit, who could finally call something home. Let's start with the lie Geralt told himself for years, that neutrality was strength. He'd repeat it like a mantra, even as villages burned, as innocents died, as Nilfgaard's army marched across the continent. "I kill monsters, not humans," he'd say, ignoring the fact that sometimes the monsters wore crowns and the victims wore rags. Yennefer saw through this. She called it what it was: cowardice. Take the incident in Posada, for example, when a group of Nilfgaardian soldiers rounded up elven refugees, planning to execute them for stealing human grain. Geralt was there, hired to kill a Kikimora in the nearby woods, and he planned to walk away. Yennefer stopped him, her voice like ice. "You call this neutrality?" she snapped, nodding at the elves huddled in the dirt. "You call letting men murder children doing your job. Neutrality isn't strength, Geralt. It's an excuse. An excuse to not care, to not choose, to not be human." Geralt hesitated, his hand on his sword hilt. For a second, he wanted to argue, to hide behind his code. But Yennefer's eyes didn't waver. So he drew his sword, not for coin, not for a contract, but for the elves. He fought the soldiers. He saved the refugees. And when it was over, Yennefer looked at him and said, "There's the man I know you are." That day, Geralt's code didn't break, it evolved. Neutrality gave way to purpose, and purpose gave way to something deeper, a commitment to protect, even when it cost him. Yennefer didn't force this on him. She just made him see that he'd been capable of it all along. Then there's the found family. No one saw coming. Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri. At first, Geralt saw Ciri as a debt, a law of surprise. He couldn't escape, a child he had to protect out of obligation. Yennefer saw her as a chance to heal the wounds of her own childhood, a chance to love something unconditionally, a chance to build a family. It was Yennefer who turned that obligation into love. Remember their first winter at Kaer Morhen? Geralt focused on training Ciri swordplay, survival skills, the hard lessons of a witcher. Yennefer focused on her. She taught her to control her magic, yes, but she also sat with her when she cried about her mother. She listened when she talked about her fears of being a monster. She even baked her honey cakes badly at first. Geralt teased her about burning them, but Ciri ate them anyway. One night, Geralt found Ciri curled up next to Yennefer by the fire, listening to stories about Yennefer's time at Aretuza. "She's not just teaching me magic," Ciri said, when she noticed Geralt watching. "She's teaching me how to be brave." Geralt didn't say anything, but he saw it then. Yennefer wasn't just helping with Ciri. She was binding them together. She turned a witcher and a princess into a father and a daughter. She turned 3 lonely people into a family. And Geralt? He learned to say, "I love you," not with words, but with small